Showtime! The Capital G Show starts right now.
What's up YouTube, Capital G here. So we're talking Fluffals in this video, which that's an opening I didn't think that I'd ever make. But anyways, so Konami has released some new information on cards that we're going to be getting and crossover souls. And this is mainly revolving around Fluffals and Raid Raptors. Basically, it looks like they posted a dual video of those two decks kind of facing off, and they're using a lot of new cards that are going to be released in the crossover souls set. Now, Fluffals, I won't lie, I basically know nothing about. I know that they revolve around fusion summoning, but my understanding is that you basically, like, as the deck is right now, you have to invest everything into one monster, and then I guess if your opponent pretty much like evacs it, you just lose. You know what I mean? Like they fusion summon, but it's nowhere near the level of like Shaddolls. And I mean, it's not technically, I guess, Fluffals' fault. It's just when you have another deck that kind of does the same thing. And I mean, let's be real, Shaddolls kind of took the fusion summon to a whole new level. Not only could they fusion summon for free, but they fusion summoned for free on a practical activation condition. Your opponent having extra deck monsters, like the whole fucking game is built around extra deck monsters. Like all art types except like Clees and Infernoids are pretty much built around that shit. So, you know, not just that, but then being able to like get effects at the same time. And the Shadow monsters themselves all had really good uses as far as their effects. You know, Construct blowing shit up that was special summoned, and Winda making sure that your opponent can only special summon once. So Fluffals by comparison just really didn't stack up. But it looks like they're getting some new cards, and the first thing that I saw was they're getting a Miracle Fusion, which I was like, okay, anytime that I can fusion summon without having to use real resources, it's a good thing. I mean, Miracle Fusion is one of those cards that's always been played in Heroes ever since the card is ever since people started playing it. They never dropped it because it was just too good. Even people play it now today, they only play like 2 copies, but still. So this card, Fright for Fusion, it's a normal spell card, and it says you can only activate 1 Fright for Fusion per turn, which okay, I mean, I guess they don't want players OTKing. I mean, you can use as many fucking Miracle Fusions as you want, but whatever. I'm technically still okay because the card itself is good. The effect reads, fusion summon 1 Fright for monster from your extra deck by banishing monsters you control or have in your graveyard as fusion material. I'm not really interested in using monsters that I control, especially if I have to banish them. But I mean, giving up shit from my graveyard, I'm perfectly fine with that. I'll do that anytime, any day, because I mean, monsters in my graveyard, essentially I should have already gotten utility out of those when they were on the field. So I mean, if I'm able to use them from the graveyard, I mean, that's just fucking candy. Like, look at Necros and look at all the ways that they summon monsters without really using raw resources. And that card coincides with this new toy that they've also gotten, Death Toy Factory, or I guess it's going to be called Fright for Factory and the TCG. It's a continuous spell card, and it says that you can only use each effect of this card once per turn. The first effect is you can banish 1 fusion or polymerization spell card in your graveyard, and then you can fusion summon 1 Fright for Fusion monster from your extra deck by using monsters you control or have in your hand as fusion materials. So this card is pretty cool because basically if you have this card in your graveyard, then you can just use this. You can banish the Fright for Fusion, and then you just get to, you know, summon one of your Fright for monsters. And then the second effect is cool too, because if this card is sent to the graveyard, then you can target a Fright for Fusion. Excuse me, you can target a Fright for Fusion that's banished, and you get to add it to your hand. So it gives you a ton of recyclability. You know what I mean? Like you obviously you use this, and then you banish this to activate your to do your fusion summon, and then when this dies, you basically just add this. So my question is, will the deck run out of monsters to use? Because it seems like you have a way of recycling all your spells, but I haven't really seen a way of recycling your monsters. Sometimes Infernoids run into that problem. If Konami addresses that, the deck is in business. If you can find some way of recycling your monsters, because in the OCG, Shadows never had that problem because Pot of Avarice was legal. So with Shadows, you just Shadow Fuse and use L as much as you fucking want. And then when you got a whole bunch of monsters and you didn't have shit in your graveyard, okay, well, I'm gonna activate Pot of Avarice. I'm gonna send shit back, and I'm gonna draw 2, and I might even use that Gustal Emerald, so I might be able to send 7 cards back and draw 3 cards. And then where is it? They got a new fusion card it's actually legit. It's called Death Toy Chain Sheep, or I guess Fright for Sheep in the TCG. It's a level 5. It's a dark monster. I guess all the Frightfuls, all the Fright Furs are dark because I guess they're like killer toys or something. I always think of that and think of Chucky, like the Child's Play movies. 2000 attack, 2000 defense. I wasn't super impressed by the stats, but the effect makes up for it. It requires 1 Edge Imp Chain plus 1 Fluffal monster. Why I kept saying Frightful. 1 Fluffal monster. The effect reads, if this card attacks or is attacked, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects until the end of the damage step. That's always nice to have. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or if this card in your possession is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to the graveyard, that's the important part. You can special summon this card from the graveyard, and if you do, it gains 800 attack, but you can only use this effect once per turn. Okay, so this card is really good, mainly because it's resistant to destruction from battle and destruction from card effects. And it's like, all right, if you think about this, and you just think about how the game is right now, I mean, yeah, you can bounce this guy, you can banish it, but if somebody runs it over, because it's 2000, it's not the biggest thing. Like if your opponent rams it over with a Dante and it comes back at 2800, it's gonna be fucking hard to kill it that second time. You know what I mean? Like a 2800 beater is pretty fucking hard to kill. If your opponent blows it up with Forgeki, or they blow it up with Fire Lake or Mirror Force Torrential, and it comes back at 2800, this shit's gonna be kind of real. And then the whole, they can't activate effects until the end of the damage step. Basically, built-in Armatis is like really cool. It looks like they're building that into a lot of the later Fluffals, but I just like this card. It just seems like it's somewhat adjusted to power creep. Like if a monster gets blown up or dies anyway, and then it just comes back to the field even stronger, to me, that's adjusted for power creep, and it makes the card viable now. I don't know about the rest of the Fluffals. I'm really not going to look into like this new one, the sheep one, because I feel like if I'm going to do that, then I kind of need to look into all of them to see how they would function as a deck. But what I do know is a Miracle Fusion for a fusion deck is that's a step in the right direction. Having fusions that are adjusted to power creep, that anytime they die, they instantly come back stronger, that's good. That's adjusted to power creep. And this card seems pretty cool too. When it dies, you basically add fusion back. But again, my question is, how are they going to recycle their monsters? If they have a way to do that, they may be a legit deck. Thank you guys for watching as always.
Subscribing makes life happy.